Oh, you want to play psycho killer? Can I be the helpless victim?
Cross your eyes and scream, man. Scream for your life.
Welcome, Scream Queens and Things. Whether you're screaming at movies or the real life stuff, I'm your host, Jenica Olin. This is my 61st episode, and my theme of the month is Manic March, where we analyze a manic female archetype in horror. May, the protagonist, is characterized as manic primarily through her sudden drastic shifts in energy and her increasingly erratic obsessive behavior as her mental state deteriorates. While she begins the film painfully shy and socially anxious, her manic qualities emerge as a response to repeated rejection. McKee stated that the film was partially autobiographical, rooted in his own feelings of social isolation and social anxiety while growing up. He noted that much of the character's perspective came from being raised primarily by his mother and sister, which influenced his intuitive approach to female-driven narratives. While not a true crime story, the Ito Hamashi's self-portrait doll is hauntingly similar to May and her doll Amy. Hamashi created a hauntingly lifelike living art doll of himself using over 2,000 pieces of wood, along with his own actual hair, fingernails, and teeth. The statue was so realistic that viewers reportedly felt compelled to speak to it. Today I'll be covering the 2002 film May, written and directed by McKee, starring Angela Bettis, Jeremy Sisto, and Anna Faris. Estimated budget was $500,000, and the estimated gross was $264,000. But so this was a flop at the time, but since then it has a cult following, and I hope that this episode is finding all those amazing cults-ish May fans. And maybe we can get some new fans in there too. The tagline for this movie is, "There are no good wholes, just parts." Some trivia about this film. There are several references to famed Italian horror, giallo director Dario Argento. Adam goes to see a showing of Trauma. There's an image from Opera hanging on the wall in Adam's room, as well as a portrait of Argento hanging on his same wall. Although May was unsuccessful in box office, it received favorable reviews from critics and now is considered a cult film. May's Halloween costume is a replica of her doll Susie. The movie can be considered a satirical take on society's superficial, never-ending obsession with vanity and perfection, and how absurd it is for alienating someone based on their imperfections. May says she likes Blank's tattoo. His tattoo is a Frankenstein monster. Frankenstein, 1931, is about an obsessed scientist that creates a living being from body parts. Similarly, May also creates a friend from body parts. The name the friend May eventually creates is Amy, which is not only an anagram of May, but also a pun to Amy, which is French for friend. As Susie's glass case breaks, May's mind also breaks until the case completely shatters and Susie is broken into pieces. May then begins her plan to create a new friend, and she becomes more confident. If you're new here, each episode will have an intro, brief synopsis of the movie, and analysis of the film. Spoiler alert, I've made it my job to spoil the shit out of this movie.
You know how when you meet someone and you think you like them, but then the more you talk to them, you see parts you don't like? The boy I saw today is different. I like every part of him, especially his hands.
Hello?
Don't be mad. You've been my friend my whole life. I need a real friend.
May is an awkward, lonely young woman who had a troubled childhood due to her lazy eye, which caused her to feel abnormal and out of place. As a little girl, May's mother takes her to an eye doctor who suggests that May wears an eye patch to correct her vision. Unfortunately, this only encourages the other kids to look oddly at her. Her only true friend is a glass case doll named Susie, made by her mother and given to May for her birthday. After presenting her with the gift, her mother tells her, if you can't find a friend, make one. As an adult, May works at the veterinary hospital, assisting with surgeries. May's optometrist fixes her lazy eye. She sees Adam, a local mechanic, around town and begins to follow him. She times her visits to the local laundromat and her lunch breaks with his in order to meet up. This seemingly perfect guy, Adam, gets to know May when she finally manages to get the courage to walk up and introduce herself to him. And when she tells him that she's weird, he replies, "That's okay, I like weird." May has a fixation on his hands, which she considers to be the most attractive part of him. Meanwhile, May's lesbian colleague Polly, who works as the receptionist at the vet clinic, begins to show an attraction to May. One day, while May is feeling especially low, she makes a random remark that Polly has a beautiful neck. Polly then gives her pet cat Loopy to May, ostensibly because her bitch landlord's new rule not to have pets around. One day, Adam shows her a film he made for his university titled Jack and Jill. The black and white silent film reveals a story of two young lovers who go on a picnic and end up eating each other. May becomes clearly aroused by the blatant cannibalism in the film. During what started as an intense session of making out, May gets carried away and bites Adam on the lip, causing him to bleed profusely. May blames her doll Susie for encouraging her to make bad choices. After Adam stops calling her, May goes to his house and accidentally overhears him and his friend calling her a lunatic and saying he's glad he could get rid of her. Heartbroken, May goes home and gets a message from Polly inviting her over. At that time, May finally gives into Polly's wiles and starts a romantic affair with her. May also inquires about working at a school for disabled children, specifically for looking after the blind children she saw playing in the park near her workplace. The following day, May goes to see Polly, only to find that she's with another girl. Polly makes it clear she's still interested in May, but apparently wants to see other girls too. Returning home after trying to conceal her hurt, May's totally miserable, and when Loopy refuses to come near her, she becomes enraged and throws the clay ashtray at the cat, striking her on the head and killing her. May tries to phone Adam, and he says he can't see her that night and tells her not to wait when she offers to. During the conversation, Susie's case is shown cracking, and May acts like she can hear Susie interrupting her phone conversation. Later, May goes to the school for blind kids and shows them Susie, telling them that this is her best friend. The children cannot see it, so they want to touch it. May tries to keep the doll away, as Susie is delicate, and struggles with the kids until the doll falls and the glass shatters into pieces all around the floor. The children begin to crawl about looking for the doll, and the glass cuts into their hands and knees. May also gets down on the floor to rescue Susie, cutting herself in the process. Carrying now destroyed, bloody-covered Susie, May returns home. She wakes up to a phone message from Polly, saying she's worried about May because she hasn't shown up at work. When May looks in the mirror, she sees her eyes are bloody and begins wearing her glasses instead of contacts again while they heal. The following day, May is sitting on a bench at a local bus stop when a punk boy named Blank sits beside her and begins talking to her. He becomes interested in her odd remarks about people not being entirely perfect, but only having perfect parts. May doesn't like him at first, but then warms up to him when he says he just wants to be friendly. They go to May's apartment, and Blank begins flirting with her. When he goes to the freezer to get ice, he finds the cat's corpse wrapped in plastic wrap. Flabbergasted, he begins to panic and calls May a freak. Infuriating her, she finally breaks down and stabs him in the head with a pair of scissors, killing him. On Halloween night, May dresses up in a homemade costume similar to Susie's dress, along with straightening her hair out and putting on white facial powder, and wearing a blood-red lipstick. She rents a large ice cooler hooked up to a dolly and goes out. May first goes over to Polly's house. At Polly's house, May and Polly carry on a normal conversation about work until May pulls out a couple of scalpels and puts them at each side of Polly's neck. Polly laughs at her, thinking this is a joke, and stating that she knows that May would never hurt her until May suddenly slashes her neck, much to Polly's astonishment, before dying. A little later, Ambrosia, Polly's other lover, arrives at the house. May admires her legs and asks her to turn for her. Ambrosia accepts, but not without calling her a freak. After that, May stabs her on both sides of her head. Lastly, May goes to Adam's house. When she arrives there, she finds that Adam is with another girl called Hoops, who lets May come in. Much to Adam's annoyance, they sit at the table. May asks Adam to touch her face. Adam refuses, something which leads to a discussion between May and Hoop, who tells her that Adam's hands are hers now. Adam, who's a little hungover and not feeling well, gets impatient with both women and says he wants May to leave, after which she stands and asks him again to touch her face. He indignantly pokes her forehead, at which point May stabs Hoop in the neck. Adam walks back and screams in horror, but May stabs him in the stomach. Back at home, May starts designing her new friend, which is basically a Frankenstein-like thing made from her deceased friends whose body parts she keeps in the cooler. She uses Blank's arms, Polly's neck, Adam's hands, Ambrosia's legs, Hoop's earrings, and Loopy's fur to substitute hair, while the other appendages are fully sewn together. She realizes that Amy can't actually see her, so in a rush of misery, she stabs her right eye, the lazy one. Crying in pain, she puts it on the head of Amy, sobbingly begging for the thing to look at her. Exasperated and in pain, May leans her head against Amy's shoulder. In her pain and psychological breakdown, May sees her friend suddenly come to life and touch her face lovingly. With Adam's treasured hands, May smiles.
Save me! All I want...
All right, now it's time to talk horror, and my guest today is Oriana Nichelle. She is a famous horror content creator, cosplayer, and amazing alt fashion. So what have you been working on, and where can people find you?
Usually you can find me over on TikTok or Instagram, but lately I've just been working on judging Portland Horror Film Festival. So I've been watching a lot of indie films and just covering weekly horror films that are releasing every single week. Like I think this week there was like 10. And so it's just covering all of those and just, watching horror and enjoying it. I'm working on some cosplays for Halloween. So they're a little bit bigger this year, so they are going to take a lot of work, but I'm really excited to be getting it going. I'm usually just like a cosplay during Halloween time, but I'm bringing it more throughout the year. Yule's, it's like where my passion gets to thrive.
Yeah. Do you create like your own pieces from scratch?
So I usually either thrift pieces, because for a long time I was sewing on the world's smallest sewing machine. And then my mom for my birthday last year actually got me a sewing machine. So now I actually have fabrics and things that I can make from scratch. But I really love like thrifting and kind of reusing materials to make what I need. And then I have a theater background. So I've worked on sets and costumes and building things. So I kind of really just go into it with a bare plan and then just kind of learn as I go. It takes me a little bit, but I have fun learning.
Yeah, no, that's great. I love that. I feel like that actually goes really well with the movie that we're covering today, May, because she makes all her own clothes.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it's all like patchwork, and I love her style. Like, it's so...
It's so May. it's just like her, like it's little pieces of things she likes, you know, which is the theme of the film, is like finding the perfect parts and making it, you know, perfect as a whole. That's her style is definitely a representation of her.
Yeah, it's very eclectic, I would say. Yeah.
Definitely eclectic.
And her dress, like at the end, I know we'll get to it, but if I could make that dress and like be May for Halloween one year, I would love that.
We never see May cosplays ever. And it's like, if you were to see that someone dressed as her, you would know exactly who that was. Because it's like the pale face with just looking just like her doll. Ideas.
Like have a cooler behind you that you're just like dragging. Oh my God. I would be so excited if I saw May.
Someone needs to do that. Someone needs to do that.
And I really want a Susie doll.
Oh, yeah. Dolls actually really creep me out. My mom has porcelain dolls growing up. So I would always see them like at night and then glaring at me. So her doll, I don't know how she handled having a porcelain doll like with her at all times, because I would be freaked out. But
yeah, my mom also had porcelain dolls. So we're finding we have a lot of stuff in common. May was one of my blockbuster finds that I ended up being obsessed with. And I probably rented this movie like 3 times. How did you come across this movie?
We actually bought it without like knowing anything about it, because we used to have like, we would have like VHSs and DVDs, just so we would buy like movies we didn't really know anything about, but would buy it, especially horror movies. And that was one. And I remember one, it stuck because May, I was born in May. So I was like, ooh, but then really relating to her as the like kind of socially awkward, because growing up, I was very shy, very socially awkward. So I related to her character of not being really able to connect with other people and having just a difficulty. So I remember just really gravitating towards the film. But then on my rewatch, I just remembered exactly how wild it is. Like everything that happens after, you know, the glass breaks and the children and all of that. And even at the end, I'm like, oh, it's such an underrated film. And you can see everything happen to just this poor, innocent, sweet girl who just wants to have friends, a companion, and just a normal life that we all want, but, you know, has grown up with this condition that has made her feel very insecure about herself. And then all of these things that happen, it leads her to just have this like full on meltdown. And it's just like growing up, I can relate to all of these things collectively just boiling under the surface until it kind of makes you kind of crack. And then, you know, you're kind of either liberated from it or you kind of go a little bit insane. But in this film, a lot of, especially women, can find at least pieces of May in themselves and kind of can relate to at least what she's going through.
No, I agree. And I think that, you know, May in this movie, she is an adult, like she's a veterinarian helping out with surgeries and things, but she's definitely in like an arrested development. So she's very like, her mentality is still very much like a teenager trying to find themselves, and like that socially awkward coming into your own. And I think everyone kind of has that awkwardness of like not knowing exactly how to navigate social situations, or, you know, the way that you approach people. Or I think it's very relatable. And she's like the extreme, right? Like, but it's still, there's something to it. And it is so underrated. This movie deserves, it's definitely like a cult classic at this point.
Yeah. I love that it's over the last few years, a lot more people have been talking about it, because when it first was released, it was really not talked about at all. So I like that at least people are recognizing how really good it actually is. And May herself, the character, is so like complex. You see how she's trying to navigate this world of being an adult, but also with her mentality of still being like a teenager, and still kind of her attachment to her doll is giving her like this kid-like persona still. And so it's a great film. And I think more people need to recognize.
It is. Like, I saw this movie when I didn't have a cell phone. I didn't have social media. I was like AOL dial up. You know, there was no really way for me to like communicate with people and be like, hey, you need to go watch this movie. It was so much harder back then to like share that information.
Right? It's like, it was just hard in general to find people that kind of like the same things you liked, where you could be like, hey, go watch this like film that's like, what I wouldn't say, I mean, it is kind of a body horror. I mean, there are not too many parts where you see a lot of body, but I mean, it's a film about definitely the like agonizing internal what females have to go through in life.
Yeah.
For sure. And then, you know, just characters like Adam. I think we've all met someone kind of like Adam and dealt with those kind of personas.
I had such a crush on him.
I didn't realize how many films he's actually been, that actor has actually been in. Because I'm like, oh, that's where I know you've, oh, that too. And I'm like, when I rewatched it, I'm like, whatever happened? Like, I want to see, like, I like Googled and saw what he looks like now. And I'm like, I would have never like thought that was you, because like, he looks so different now. But him as like back then was Adam was a cutie.
Yeah, Jeremy Sisto. I did take a peek at his IMDb page. I can't remember off the top of my head the other things he was in, but
wasn't it like Wrong Turn, and
he was in like heartthrob movies though too. He was like
always like
very much like that pretty boy, like
pretty bad boy kind of.
Yes, the pretty bad boy. Because he plays a mechanic here. He plays like a grimy, dirty mechanic that smokes cigarettes and makes indie horror films. And it's fantastic.
I think it was like, it's kind of, when you watch it back, you're like, I kind of wish he was like not so douchey, because he was a little weird himself. Like his interests and like May's interests would have really worked out well. It was just like the issue of her being kind of inexperienced and things like that was kind of like, he was also added to him being put off. But like his weird indie like cannibalistic love film, and I'm like, really, where are you going to find someone to love you like that? She loves your film too.
Right? May is right there, and you rejected her.
Right? You made her feel awful about it.
So May is essentially a psychological character study that slowly builds towards May's manic breakdown. The film structures its themes chronologically. Each stage of the story reinforces May's isolation and distorted understanding of connection. Today, we're going to break down her progression into madness, showing how each interaction pushes May closer to her final psychotic break. Critics and viewers often describe her as manic because of the speed and intensity of her final descent. After being rejected by Adam and Polly, she moves from a state of deep depression and isolation into a frenzied, goal-directed state of like madness to complete her masterpiece, her Frankenstein doll. This shift mirrors the clinical definition of mania, which includes increased energy, racing thoughts, and distorted sense of reality. Yeah.
She definitely goes on one, you know, but she's building her perfect friend, you know? So if she can't make, you know, what does her mom say? The line where it's like, if you can't have a friend, make one.
Yes. Her mom is definitely like, I think that something was passed down with them. There's something generationally like, so we're going to start like at the beginning. So her childhood isolation and conditional love, which her mother, like you just said, she sets the ground for that, you know, if you can't find a friend, you make one. And May's forced to wear an eye patch because of her lazy eye, and kids are rejecting her at school because she's weird, and they ask her if she's a pirate, which is like a normal kid thing to do. It's not nice, but if there was an adult to like go guide this conversation, May could have grown up to be like a healthy, socially acclimated kid.
Yeah, but instead she was forced to kind of like hide and her, imperfection, and, she wasn't given the tools to kind of navigate the situation when kids come up and ask her, because they're curious, the only person they probably ever saw with an eye patch was a pirate. So it's normal that kids would be curious, but also, for May being the one that has to wear it and go through it, it's just, she should have had a little bit more guidance from an adult. Like her mom should have been there at least to help her navigate those difficult situations. But also, it seems like her mom also didn't really know how to navigate difficult situations herself and was just passing down what she knew.
Yeah, her mom was very avoidant as well. And whenever it came to the iPad, she was like, put your hair over it. And she was telling her, like, oh, you want the kids to talk to you. You want to have friends. You need to hide this. And right. It was just like she was told to constantly like mask everything and kind of put herself into a box as well.
Yeah, she definitely set her up to just kind of hide what isn't pretty and just kind of, that's how you're going to get friends. Mm-hmm. And that's how you're going to get companionship. So
yeah,
she wasn't really set up for success.
That whole like mantra that her mom gives her, it drives the plot from childhood trauma to psychological horror. In May, the doll Susie, like she's given Susie for her birthday. And Susie's the most important symbol in this entire film. She represents multiple layers of May's psychology, control, artificial companionship, repression, and the danger of idolizing perfection. Susie isn't just a childhood toy. She becomes the blueprint for how May understands relationships. And this is not great because she's not able to make friends or read social cues because her friend is a doll in a glass case.
It definitely has made her feel isolated her, so she didn't have to feel forced to go out to make a friend because she kind of had this doll as a comfort. And so she wasn't able to learn, the life experiences you learn growing up by having friends and getting introduced to certain things that we all get introduced to in life, and becomes very, very codependent on this doll for, whether or not she's accepting it at first. Cause, at first she's just like, stop it, stop listening to me. But the fact that her mom originally set it up where she can't touch her, she can't ever come out of the box. She has to stay pretty and perfect and can never be touched, really sets it in her brain like, oh, well, I have to, in order to be a certain way, I have to be like in this containment.
May grows up believing that friendship can be constructed rather than developed. Like if she had friends when she was little, she would have realized that, you have to compromise. No one is perfect. No one is perfect.
No one. And, she would have been able to at least grow up to be an adult with better social cues. And at least I feel like her manic spiral wouldn't have happened so quickly because she would have been like better able to self-regulate and control her emotions and be like, okay, well, this isn't the absolute end of the world. I'm just, we'll be good. But sad she didn't get that. And it, it really added to her feeling, not a part of the world as an adult.
The rejection hit so much harder for her because she had no reference point.
Yeah.
From anything.
It's like your first heartbreak, when you first break up and you feel like it's the end of the world and like you'll never get over it. That's kind of what she experiences with Adam, even though like it was just some very small, like kind of crush, a little bit getting intimate, but not quite there. And that initial rejection really does, impact someone. So she dealt with a lot in the like a short span of time when she was trying to befriend Adam. And you see it when she was trying to set herself up to meet him at the crosswalk or talk to him different times before she actually goes and has him pet her face.
But he handled that well, I feel like.
He did. He was really digging it, though. He was like, all right, I'm still going to, entertain this. So he definitely did like a little weird. So I still think that they would have been a good match had it just not gone south.
Yeah. I think she took the cannibal film a little bit too literal. Rewatching it, I was like, she would probably be one of those people that's like, let's eat each other.
Blood drinker, like, let's drink each other's blood. She would definitely be into that for sure. I don't think he is so much. He's like, I'm just going to film it and make fake blood, not so much actually do it. But she definitely would be vials of blood around her neck.
Yes.
Sure.
She loved the blood.
She definitely did. She also loved just like, how her fascination with the body parts and Holly's neck and the way she was just like, always when she was touching the body parts, she was always just way more intrigued in the actual parts than the person that they were attached to. Even Adam, did she really like him, or was she more attracted to his hands that she loved?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was definitely like she didn't really know him that long. So I think it was this like hyperfixation on the hands, on this, and making this like idolized person in her head of what he should be. And he doesn't live up to that.
And, he had his reasons to be kind of freaked out. She would just show up at his house. She was very into biting his lip and being in the blood. So I can understand why he would be like, maybe it's not for me. And the scene that I just feel I cringe, but I feel bad for her is when she goes up to his door and it's kind of peeked open and he's like talking about someone else and then talking about her. And you're just like, girl.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking. And honestly, the first time watching that scene, I wasn't sure if she was going to catch on to the cues that she wasn't wanted. And I thought she was going to stay there and he'd see her. So I was so glad when she got out of there because I'm like, yes, don't stay there. Don't let him see you.
Right. Don't let that couldn't handle that embarrassment. But the other scene with the cat. And then, but she calls him and it's like, hey, I'll wait for you. And he's just trying his best to be like, but don't wait for me. And she's just not understanding it. And you just feel for her because you're like, if she only had like a friend that cared about her to be like, hey, that's him letting you know, just you should leave it alone. Like, it's not, damn it, Susie.
Yes. It was all Susie's fault. She kept giving bad advice from inside her glass case.
Right? I mean, she did try to say not to go out with him, that she was going to get hurt, but she should have warned her not to go and stalk his house.
Yeah. Yes. So we kind of get into May as a veterinary assistant. And like we've said, like she's awkward. She struggles with eye contact and physical closeness with people. She just moves very
reserved, kind of like.
Yeah, she's very like inward, very closed off, kind of making herself small and in a corner. She doesn't know how to open herself up to others.
Which is wild because if you notice the vet, he's not very competent and they all kind of rely on May to do things. Like even Polly's like, can you handle this, guy whose dog lost his leg? So they rely on her. So obviously she is good at what she does and is capable and smart, so the fact that she can't see that and just makes herself feel small and to kind of just not take up a whole lot of space is just also adds to, how she grew up, not really wanting to stick out like a sore thumb, just kind of wanting to blend into the background.
Yeah. I love that you bring up the animal and the leg because the guy is just like, there's just this leg on a slab. And he's like, she's like, what do you want me to do with it? And he's like, can you put it back on? And she looks at it and she's like, yeah.
It's like, why not? I love the part there. He's like, I left. My dog had 4 legs and now it only has 3. When I first watched it, I was like, I thought the dog, it was like a prosthetic leg. But when he brings it back and it's an actual leg and you're just like, how did the dog lose the leg?
Yeah, they never explain it. And we don't see the dog afterwards with his his like reattached leg, which that's not going to work.
It's just going to be, the poor dog's going to walk around with a leg that is just dying and rotting, basically, because it's not going to get heal. And she's just like, yep.
Yeah.
It's also how she describes her job when Adam and her are having lunch, and he's like, describe, like what's gross. And she describes how the vet like left something in there, or the sutures, and used cat sutures on the dog, and then the guts like ended up erupting, and the client calls and is like all upset, and then she just kind of like smiles and eats her sandwich, and you're like, okay, you start to see a little bit of the psychopath in her, like, just a little bit, with that like smile and giddiness of that happened. And he's just like,
yeah, she's just like fascinated with how things work.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like that whole, like, she wants to experiment with things and see, why does a clock tick? Why does a heart beat? Why, she is a mad scientist.
She feel like she probably could have been a mad scientist had she not went down her path she went on.
Mm-hmm.
She basically created her own Frankenstein's monster with her friend.
Yeah, the creature that she made she names it Amy,
which is even cool. I love that all of the notes that you like had put in, I didn't know so much about how in depth this film is, just with like the doll her friend she made, naming it after herself, and all of the little things that were sprinkled into this film.
There's a lot. Horror is so fascinating. I love horror because of it.
I hate that like award shows don't recognize the like complexity of horror. It's like there's a lot of like layers in it. Like it might not be like a drama or something that's like profound, like, but it's like there's a lot of actual creative like thought and like levels that go into a good horror movie. So it's like, but we're getting there. We're definitely getting there.
We are. We're making like small little steps. So when it comes to her, she's very neurodivergent, has high anxiety, obsessive, like with the neck, with the hands, with the legs. She has a desire for connection, but a fear of rejection, which is a huge barrier for her. And yeah, that glass case is symbolism of emotional barriers, observing life instead of participating, and the fragility of relationships and perfection preserved through distance. Because if she would touch her, then she could hurt her and she wouldn't be perfect anymore.
Right. And we can't have Susie not be perfect, which is what I feel like May was trying to work towards with herself. She, in her little ways, and when the rejection started happening and she realized she's not perfect and there's something wrong, and that's why the glass breaking really is a good symbolism of her state of being kind of just beginning to shatter.
Yeah. Do you remember when the first crack was? I think she like hits the top of it.
Mm-hmm. I don't remember if that was after Adam leaves, after they watch the movie. And then
I think it was.
And then she like yells, or she's like, I told you to turn around or something, and hits it. I think that was when the first crack in. So I think that might be when the first like rejection, kind of like the real big one that kind of cut deep, happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It made that first like initial crack. And then from there on, anytime she had a new rejection, it just cracked a little bit more and a little bit more. And that glass case is so symbolic in this film. I think it's an obvious symbolism that's in there, but it's done so well. I think it's just executed so well.
It's a good symbolism because, May is, in all sense of the word, is like in a metaphorical glass box herself, and then having it crack is a good symbolism. And also after the glass actually breaks and the doll is out and is broken, that's when we actually see her really come undone.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So we kind of get into May beginning to date Adam, the fantasy versus reality. And she's kind of like that manic pixie perception of an eccentric woman. And that's what he thinks. He thinks she's just like kind of weird, kind of eccentric. And he doesn't realize the depth of really emotionally just repressed, and she really has no social background to like pull from to know how to interact with him. And he thinks it's fun at first, and I almost feel like it's like fucked up how he treats her, because he treats her like she's an interesting, like she's a toy, like she's an object.
Or it's just like a interesting thing he's going to entertain for the time being because he hasn't quite figured her out yet. And then once he learns more about her and then it's not really kind of for him, then he has no issue just dropping her.
Mm-hmm.
After knowing, because she does say, I've never had a boyfriend. You know, she was honest with him that she wasn't, you know, where, you know, most people are. And so a good individual would have taken that into consideration and maybe be like, okay, maybe this isn't, you know, for me because that's not what I'm looking for. So he does toy with her a lot, coming back to her, or even, you know, I know he was trying to be nice with her at the laundromat after they like stopped talking, but it's just like, he could have at least like let her know like, hey, it's just not working out, instead of just completely ghosting her. Because he had to have known she wouldn't have understood that. Especially
Yeah.
if she was calling. So it's like, why are you going to have her go through all of this just because you can't bother to be like, sorry, it's not working?
Yeah, like she was obviously very fragile and she was very timid. And, you know, there are all these things where he's the one that had the power and he was, you know, the one with the status and all these things. And he really, I don't know, like he should have taken all of those cues in and known that like what he was doing was going to be emotionally damaging to her. But in the end, it was just fun for him at the moment. And you see, he kind of goes through girls fast too. He has like,
Yeah.
I think 3 different girlfriends or something in the span of this time.
Yeah, like it was the girl that he said was his girlfriend with the like that she bought him in the first like laundromat scene, and then May, and then the
Hoops. I think they called her Hoops.
Yeah, Hoops, yeah, with the earrings. And that, I don't know if that was the same girl they were talking about when she went up to his house and was like, and the door was cracked open, because that could have been another, wasn't there another girl there too? Because there was someone grabbing his cigarette.
Yeah, I felt like it was a different voice too. It wasn't like the Hoops girl. I feel like he just went through girls so fast. He makes me angry. The more I think about his actions, he makes me angry.
Scummy. Hate Adam.
How dare he?
His character is just like, he had no regard for how innocent she was, and he knew it. Like, there's no way you could see someone like May and, you know, have her the way she was, and so like kind of meek and small and open that she'd never had a boyfriend, and for him to just turn around and disregard all of that, to ghost her and to string her along just because he was entertained for the time being, when he didn't need to do that, because obviously he can get girls.
Like she was very vulnerable.
And he took advantage of that. 100% took advantage of that. And, you know, which is why I feel like this, like the big first crack happens. First real like person that kind of rejects her and also uses her and takes advantage of her. Things like that actually do have like a lasting impact on you.
Yeah. I think that when she bites his lip too, I think that she was just reenacting what she saw in his video, because she had no reference points for what a relationship should look like. And so when she saw this cannibal scene where they're like covering themselves with blood, she thought that was really cool. And so I felt bad for her because like she didn't know and he didn't explain. But how would you know like necessarily that you have to explain? But also it's May. Come on.
Right? I know. She was just like, I'm just reenacting what you put in the film. Like, you made this. Like, I thought you liked this. And it's like one of those you're just like, I'm sure so she would have found someone that would have really dug it. But he, he could have been a little bit more kinder with that kind of situation where, he would have been like, no, that's just for film, like, I'm not really. And he could have explained things better. But instead,
Yeah.
he was like, nope, I got to bounce. Sorry.
Yeah. He's like, you really hurt me. I have to leave now. And then she's yelling at the doll, like, you told me to do this. And it's just, and he hears her saying this. And it's like, that's when he realizes how severely just messed up May is and how she really is this isolated, kind of weird person. And it's not just a quirky charm. It's like there's more to it than that. And he should have taken it seriously.
Right? You're like, maybe you shouldn't toy with someone that is a little bit of in a fragile mental state. Maybe you should, do better.
Yeah, 100%. Susie remains present throughout May's entire life that we see, and she kind of acts like a psychological mirror. When Susie witnesses May's loneliness, her failed relationships, her growing obsession with body parts, Susie never responds, reinforcing May's belief that love does not require you to reciprocate. So she just like projects constantly. She doesn't know how to take. She doesn't know how to be given things. So when Adam begins to distance himself as a result, May internalizes the rejection as proof that there's something wrong with her and no one will ever accept her. And this is why she never made friends to begin with.
I mean, it's like something she probably would have learned like a little bit earlier in life, but now she's learning these things. And it's just, again, you feel for her because you're like, if you only would have like had, these life experiences, you would have been able to handle this a little bit better. I remember what it was like having getting rejected and you're like, oh, it's me. I'm the issue. And you're later on in life, you're like, it actually was not you. But it's just, you feel for her because you're like, you poor thing. You just don't understand. Like, it's just not going to work out. It's not you. There's nothing wrong with you. And again, if she only had someone in her life that cared about her enough to give her these like advice or help, be a true friend, not a doll in a glass case giving her awful love advice.
Yeah. That she's just like projecting upon and having delusions. Like she's, has these.
Like she really thinks that Susie is talking to her, like that Susie is really communicating with her because you see it with her giving him a phone call and her yelling to Susie because she thinks she's like listening. And the way that she just talks to her, you can tell she really truly believes that Susie is alive and can, I guess maybe feel things because, when she's broken, she just, she's no longer perfect. And I don't think she ever really goes back to hearing Susie, right? After Susie's broken, she doesn't ever hear her again.
No, she tries to put her back together, but it's like a jumbled mess and she kind of gives up. And that's when she goes off and she tries to make her own doll, like her mom said.
You can't find a friend, you're just going to make one.
Yeah, because Susie was made by her mom. So then she's like, okay, I'm going to go make Amy my human version
of all of these different parts. At least she made it of all the parts. She didn't just stick to one. She was like, I'm going to do all of the different parts.
I mean, it wasn't just trophy hunting. She had a purpose.
All of them were things she liked about it, with Blank and his tattoos and Polly and her neck. And wasn't the cat and
the cat was the hair.
Was the hair. It was all people that made a significant impact on her. Even Blank in his 2 minutes he was there with her in the apartment, he started rejecting her because he called her weird when she was really just looking for companionship. And then he finds the frozen cat in the freezer and he's like, oh God, you are actually weird. Which I'm like, why didn't you let her explain?
Yeah, she was telling you not to go in her freezer.
She said, don't go. And you were like, I need to go rub them on my
Nipples. And it's like, Jesus. He's
I'm
like,
like,
I'm
first off,
so hot. I'm like, get the
you're-
fuck out of here. Like,
you're the
can you
weirdo grabbing
please?
ice. You're the weirdo going into the fridge to grab ice that I just meant you to rub it on your nipples, and you're calling me weird.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God. So when it comes to Polly, okay, so Polly enters and May begins spending time with Polly, which is Anna Faris. And Anna Faris is she's so cute in this movie. I love her character.
I love when she's like trying to like suck her thumb too, because she sees May do it, and like the way she's like just trying so hard. It's just like, if she wasn't also such a dog, because she's like, I need to get this ass too when, you know, May comes up to her house. I feel like she really could have been good to May too, you know, because she liked the weird, and she was also very gentle with her in, you know, when they were also intimate. And it was something that May hadn't experienced, but it's the difference between when it happened with Adam was so put off by her inexperience. And then with Polly, it was very much more gentle and like more caring with her.
100%. She was definitely more caring. Polly kind of represented the sexual freedom and chaos, and May explores like the queer relationship with her, like they get intimate. And this like fulfills that hole that she had with Adam. But that was short-lived too, because Polly is very impulsive and May fluctuates between a mousy, insecure person with periods of unusual confidence and intense activity. At first, she's really unsure with Polly, and she's not, you know, Polly invites her over and stuff like that. And she's like, I don't know. And then she decides to go over, and she kind of like goes all in to like the intensity. She quickly attaches to anyone that gives her attention. And that's part of the problem too, because she doesn't have boundaries. She doesn't know how to navigate any of that.
She doesn't know how to like not go all in, because her and Polly never really discussed being like super like official or anything. Same with her and Adam, because like she was like, well, I've never had a boyfriend, and Adam could have literally just been like, we're not together, but he didn't. But with Polly, you know, once she gets again rejected by someone she fell so quickly for, who was showing her kindness and being really honestly was really gentle with her. She was accepting with her being weird, because they had that moment. She's like, are you sure? Like, do you really, really like me? And so to get that like reassurance, just for it to just all of a sudden go away. But for that little bit of time, she was walking with a little pep in her step when she ran into Adam again at the laundromat. And she was like, I'm making new friends, and you know, here's my cat now. And she seemed to be like, okay, this is the May that like really wants to come out and exist in life. But then she just gets knocked back down.
Yeah, like you feel this energy that comes out of her because she gets this like human connection that she's been so longing for. And then, yeah, it just kind of ripped away from her abruptly again. And it's like this whiplash that she's going through. And it's so, you just feel for her.
It's like the ups and downs, the emotional ups and downs she goes through. It's like, I understand why you completely lose it, especially with getting the job working with the kids, the blind kids, you know, that was also something that would like gave her purpose, you know, because of her struggle and being able to like help, you know, the one girl that she really was like attached to, and being able to kind of try to help her gave her purpose, gave her that confidence that you finally get to see. And it just sucks when it all goes away and gets just like ripped right from under her.
Yeah. And that kind of takes us to the next part, which is her kind of seeking out and putting herself out there. Like she goes to the school and she says, hey, I want to volunteer. I want to teach here. She does connect with that one student who's also like very isolated. doesn't know how to, just like an angry child. I actually love that kid. That
I love
she's awesome.
She was like making the ashtray and she's like, do you know anyone who smokes? And she's like, do you smoke? And she's like, I do. And she's like, well, then you can have it. And I was like, oh, so sassy. I loved her.
Yeah, because she's blind. So, like, she can, and obviously, I haven't smoked in a long time, but people who smoke cigarettes, like, you smell like cigarettes.
You could smell it all over them, definitely on their hands or just their
hair.
I feel like because also their senses are heightened if you're blind, your smells are going to be even stronger. So even if she washed her hands, she could smell it right off of her.
And I think she knew that May was the one in the park on the bench. Like there was something in their interaction that made me think like she knew it was her. Yeah. So she makes May this ashtray and May definitely connects with this kid and she thinks, okay, I'm going to they're going to have show and tell. I had show and tell with my class every Friday. We had a different letter they had to bring something in for. And, she doesn't know how to set boundaries with kids. And she also has no idea how to navigate this world of like, you're literally bringing a glass case in to a school full of blind children who the only way they process things is through their hands.
Yeah, you're like, oh, this was a recipe for a disaster. Because, of course they're going to like want to touch it and grab it and feel for it because that's how they, are able to know what something is. So you're just like, oh, when they started tugging and you're like, oh, and then what happens next is truly horrific.
It's so, the way that it's shot is so brutal. Just the screaming kids and the blood and the crunching of the glass and
then May is just
it's so
holding her broken doll and crying herself.
It's so dramatic.
Oh, so now not only have you lost your job, like working with the kids, the thing that kind of gave you a little bit more like self-fulfilling, like fulfillment. And then, Polly's being Polly and then rejected you. And, you understand why the downward spiral happens. But, it was time though that Susie needed to come out of the box.
It was. It eventually had to happen. I mean, because the case kept cracking more and more with every interaction, every rejection. And it really felt just like this sick joke to like bring in this doll in a glass case to a classroom full of kids that are blind.
It was like that was the catalyst of everything. That was the thing that was going to shatter it. Was this meant to be like, let me show you my best friend after this realization that Susie's been the only one there for her. And then now she lost that too.
Yeah. And that whole scene was just weird. The fact that she tells the kids that this is her only best friend, like those teachers should have known better. They should have asked her and they should have been like, wait, what? Like, what do you mean that's your only best friend? And you as a teacher, I would have been by her side. I would have been coaching her through how you do this with kids. Like, oh my God, it was so chaotic, but it's such an iconic scene. So definitely don't do this if you're a teacher.
No. No show and tell with glass cases.
Never.
Glass and children.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah. So once that broke, that was basically her psyche collapses. Her worldview is gone. People cannot love her as she is, and she only finds parts of these people desirable. So now she already hyper fixated on these parts, and now it's no one's, she'll never have anything. She'll never have anyone. It's this all or nothing thinking of like a child would think that way. It escalates from obsession into this, I can create perfection by taking pieces of people.
That's her new mission. She's taking what her mom said to heart. And I feel like that's also where I know she's in her downward spiral, but that's also where she kind of gets a lot more confident. She dresses up like the doll and then is on a mission to get these parts. And when she gets to these people, how she is presenting herself is a very confident individual. Like, she knows what she wants and is there on a mission to get those body parts. And it's just, she was contained in her box and now she's just like shattered, unhinged, and out. But she's confident.
Yeah, she's broken free. I don't know if it's a good thing, but she's broken free.
It might be the box containment was a good thing. I don't know. Just from how, the events unfolded. But, she was confident.
She was. And she looked fucking great. Like, I loved her rendition of the dress and her, like, the pale makeup. Like, she went all goth. Like, she gothed out. And she looked amazing.
Dark red lip. Yep. She was working that look.
She was. There are theories out there that this whole sequence from here on out was a dream sequence because it's so unlike her from the beginning. And then people point to the fact that, like, she was like rubbing her eyes and she had, blood on her eyes and stuff and she couldn't see. But I really believe that she is doing these things in the movie. I think, with enough makeup, you can make whatever go away.
Yeah, I don't get like it's like a dream. I feel like she really is doing this. She really is. Like, I thought the blood from her eyes was just kind of like maybe some glass got in there. And I'm imagining that this is like she just healed over time. Like, that's what I'm taking it as. She had enough time to heal, and makeup does cover a lot of things. So I feel like no, her psyche just cracked and she is just like, you know what? Nothing else is working out. I'm just going to go for it.
Yeah. And so we get our final act with the perfect friend, and it's very Frankenstein. She goes around. So what does she grab? She gets, she's grabbing it like she's going grocery shopping. She gets Adam's hand, Polly's neck, Ambrosia's legs. So Ambrosia was the Polly's like fling, her like just like her plaything. Like Ambrosia was, I love that name, by the way. Like Ambrosia. So it doesn't sound like a real person's name. It sounds like a stripper name or something.
It sounds like someone that like is a made up person. Like, I don't think I've ever met an Ambrosia. It also reminds me of cheese. I don't know why.
It might be a cheese.
Is it a cheese?
I don't know. It's definitely something.
It sounds like a food item.
Kind of does. I'm gonna look it up.
Was not nice either. She called her, didn't she call her like weird or freak or something?
Yeah, Ambrosia was really mean to May. Ambrosia is a food.
Ooh. Oh, it's a dish.
Yeah, it's a classic Southern fruit salad.
That's why fruit was sticking in my head. I was like, it reminds me of fruit and cheese.
I take back that it's a good name now. You can't name your kid after like a fruit dessert.
Fruit salad.
A fruit salad.
Oh. Yeah. Well, she gets her legs and then blank. Doesn't she get his tattoos and
his arm with the tattoo on it? And it had a Frankenstein. It was a Frankenstein tattoo.
Which is very symbolic of, he's kind of the first part of, the cat kind of is, but he's really essentially the first part of her new friend.
Yeah. Like, he was right there at the right time to see her crack and kind of be that last thing too that like added to it, because he also he didn't respect her boundaries.
He didn't. And, it was another person, because she was just sitting at the bus stop and he came over to her and then started was interested in the things she was saying. And then she, again, here's a new friend I'm potentially going to make a new connection. And then, nope.
Yeah, and then like, oh, let me put some ice on my nipples.
I'm just like, who does that? You just meet and I'm like, sorry, I'm warm. I need to go grab some ice cubes for my nips.
I really felt like he either had spiked a fever or he thought that was sexy.
He seems like he thinks that it was a turn on.
I really think he thought that. And I am telling you right now, that is not a turn on. I don't think it is, at least.
No.
Okay.
It's not, definitely not for me. I'm just like, all I'm thinking is like, are you gonna like the cube? I know you're not gonna drink anything with the ice cubes, but all I'm gonna think is hairy ice cubes in the cup now. Anyone does that,
or like how you're dripping everywhere.
Yeah.
In this like final act, she goes over, and so when she goes to get the part from Polly, because Polly is like the second one she does it to, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And she has like the scalpels, like kind of sliding them on her neck. And Polly's playing it off. Oh, I know you wouldn't hurt me. And she's like, oh, kind of way that it was very reminiscent of when she stabbed her finger and she's like, sucking on the thumb. She just thinks that this is like, I don't even know if she really feels like May's playing, but to protect herself from feeling in danger, she plays it off like it's a joke.
I feel like she just thinks it's like one of May's things that May does, and I feel like she just really kind of is not expecting at all for it, because you see the look of shock right as she's dying, like, oh my God, you actually are like killing me. So it's just the fact that she trusted May so much in that moment to be like holding these two scalpels so close and just be like, oh, I know you wouldn't. And it's like, you thought. You thought, Polly.
Yeah. I felt bad on that one. I was like, oh, but it was kind of like the way that she did it too was kind of so peaceful in a way. Is that weird to say?
Like, she didn't like viciously do it. It was very slow, and she kind of like held her head in her like lap. So it wasn't like this brutal killing. It was a gentle killing.
Yeah, we don't see a kill like that very often.
It's not like it wasn't like, I wouldn't say merciful, because she wasn't putting her out of misery. It was just a very like, what kind of kill is that? It's like not a compassionate one, just a gentle kill. It really is just a gentle kill.
Yeah. She was just like so delicate about it. She just like, she really, I don't know. I feel like in this moment too, like May kind of lost touch with reality, and I don't think she even realized that what she was doing was wrong.
Well, especially just Polly. Like, I know Polly hurt her with like Ambrosia, but like she was also really kind with her too, and she did say to May that she would, ditch Ambrosia if May wanted to just have, just for them to, she was, willing to kind of be like, I can just focus on you if that's what you want. But May didn't know how to take the rejection in that moment. And instead of being like, actually, no, I don't want you with anyone else, she internalized it and now is like killing her. So it's like that's the kill that I'm like, Polly really didn't deserve that, because Polly was really, she may have had impulses, but she was really for you, May. Like, she was really willing to be there.
And that was the only, like, all the other deaths are super violent. So like it really was like she killed Polly differently because Polly did treat her differently and she did care for Polly. And so it was this like more intimate, just like gentle kill, as opposed to like finally comes into the kitchen and she's like, oh, give me a twirl with your legs. And she starts becoming like demanding. I said, give me a twirl. And she's like, okay, fine. You're such a freak.
Like, I got 2 kills under my belt now. Now I'm in control.
Yeah. She comes into her power. And that kill is actually, you don't see it, but you hear it. And she like just
vicious
in both sides.
That
it's
one,
pretty good.
Yeah, that one, and then the way she kills Hoops. I feel like that one was just strict out of like jealousy because of the way she was like, these are my hands now, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then he is so shocked by it. Adam is so shocked when Hoops is killed. Next, she goes over there to their house and she's got her cooler, and the cooler has like all the body parts she's collecting as she's going along.
Why do you have this cooler, May?
Gotta put it on ice. Can't just go around with organs like
Need to be
exposed.
smelling quicker.
Yes. She's a professional.
She really is, you know, she knows how to handle these dead body parts. Because doesn't she have it like wrapped too when she goes to start piecing it all together? Isn't it like wrapped in? So she actually spent some time like putting it all together to make sure it was nice and neat in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, but that is very May. Like she's very methodical, very like meticulous about what she does, and that's why she was doing surgeries. So
Way better than the vet.
Well, okay, so Hoops lets her in, and like she's like fucking with her. Like she thinks it's a joke, and she's just like laughing, and she thinks it's so entertaining. And Adam's like, this isn't entertaining. This isn't fun. This is like fucked up. And he's getting really annoyed with Hoops. And then he kind of like, he gets upset at her and he lashes out at Hoops. And that's when she's like, oh, okay, I guess I'm going to leave now. And that's when things kind of escalate. And May quickly, she slits her throat, right?
Yeah, she like stabs her in the like, I thought she like stabs her in the like the throat, right?
Okay, yeah.
Because like she's like telling Adam to like touch her face, and then she goes and like when he comes up, pokes her on the head, and I think she like stabs Hoop.
Yes, that's what it was. And then she stabs him in the stomach, right?
Yeah, I think she stabs him in the stomach and then goes after his prized possession hands.
Yes, the hands. Gotta have the hands. Those soft, supple, large hands.
I'm just trying to imagine, you know, what this like doll creature would look like with all of these different parts that don't even like aren't probably not lining up, and it probably looks very interesting because we don't really get a shot of the actual doll, right?
You get the arm and the hand.
Yeah.
And like you see part of it, but you don't see the whole thing. But I can imagine that would be like such a nightmare for SFX workers to make. I don't know.
Gotta have Ambrosia's legs, Blank's arms, you know, Adam's hands, but you know, Polly's neck.
It's all just, it's a lot. It's a lot. And then the cat is skinned for hair.
Poor cat. The cat did nothing wrong.
The cat did reject her for a second though. She like asked the cat to come over, and the cat was like being a cat and was like, fuck you. And she throws the ashtray at it.
I remember going during that my rewatch with, and I was like, oh, that's me with Binks is my cat. And then she like throws the ashtray. I was like, never mind.
I would never do that to my
I would
cat.
never throw this at you. But nothing hurts like a cat's rejection. I'm like, what did I do wrong?
Yeah, like everything rejects her. So in the final scene, you know, she takes all their parts and she makes this creature, and it's super tragic because it doesn't respond to her. She's like telling it to look at her. As her psyche breaks, she engages in more dangerous and irrational acts. And that eventually leads to her self-mutilating by removing her own eye. And, you know, she committed all those murders. It just shows like this detachment from reality. And it's like that pure manic moment. She sews her eye onto the doll. And that's when it can finally like wake up, touches her face, I think. Because she wanted her face to be touched. So it finally touches her face.
Which I guess I could see why everyone would think it's like a dream state that she's in because of that. Or she's just in a really manic state and she's, you know, imagining this. it's kind of fitting that, you know, the last piece that awakens the creature is a part of herself, because she also was rejecting herself, especially her eye. So it's like, it's very fitting that the last piece to wake up is the part of, you know, herself that she's been rejecting the most.
Yeah. The actress's performance on this is so phenomenal.
So good.
When she stabs herself in the eye, you can feel it. Like, I felt pain in my eye watching it. I was like, oh my God.
She's like, no, please.
Like, please. Because she's like, like her slow, agonizing take on it, and the way she's just so good. That was Angela Bettis. And yeah, she was so good in this.
Also, the other scene when she's like wiping her eyes with the blood and that for me, because I'm like imagining like she has glass in her eyes and the way she's like wincing, and I'm like, oh, please stop, please. I don't like anything with eyeballs.
Yeah, no, me neither. Eyeballs and teeth. No, thank you.
Oh, there's a film where I watched and they were like ripping off teeth and like, I'm like shivering inside. I'm like, no, teeth and eyeballs, please, no.
I think, you know, this ending scene is definitely her in a manic state, and it's definitely not like, that's definitely her imagination, but we already know she has a wild imagination. She was literally talking to her doll and getting mad at her doll and calling the doll her best friend. So, you know, it's not far-fetched. I don't think it's a dream sequence. I think it's just, we're seeing her projected, distorted reality and just how disconnected she is with everything.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think it's a dream. And I think we're definitely seeing her reality of the situation. Like, her doll is finally complete with the last piece of her. And now she finally has that lifelong friend she's been looking for.
Yeah. I have a feeling this story doesn't end well. Like, if it continued, like, this is the end, but like, if it continued, I'm pretty sure she goes to jail.
Mm-hmm.
They find this like Ed Gein type mate, like this.
What did they even do? Like, do they separate the body parts and give them back to the bodies? Like, because they have to go find the people that they belong to, because they don't know who they are. They're just pieces of people. And then once they finally find the people, then do they sew it back to them? Like,
I think that's a closed casket situation.
Or cremation.
Mm-hmm.
Just cremate them.
Yeah. Cremate me. That's my wish. If I'm ever in that situation, please cremate me.
There ain't nothing to save to look at. Just
don't waste your money.
But make sure to cremate the parts together. Don't like cremate parts of me here and then my leg by itself and then you're separated.
Yeah, keep me whole. Like, right. I want all my parts together.
All the parts together.
Yeah. So like, basically, there are a lot of lessons you can learn from this. The real tragedy is that May was always seeking connection. She never wanted violence. She didn't want to kill them. She just wanted to make the perfect friend. And like, that's really sad. Like, when you get down to the basic her why of killing, it's not, she wasn't a, what is it called? Like, there's a product killer and there are two different kind of killers. A process killer and a product killer. I don't know. She's a product killer.
She wasn't malicious. She wasn't doing it for the purpose of killing. Like, she wanted the parts that were connected to the people. She didn't want the people, she wanted their parts. So it's like, in order to get those parts, she needed to kill them, but it wasn't like she enjoyed the killing.
Yeah,
I didn't really see her enjoy it. I just saw her enjoying when she finally got the part of them that she was, looking for. It wasn't like, oh, I'm, going to go on a murder spree and go kill a bunch of people. It was more so just, it was what needed to be done in order to make her doll.
Yeah, exactly. She did really enjoy the blood, but she could have got that other ways. She was more than happy just to like take a little bit at a time, like a vampire.
She would have been the perfect vampire's girlfriend.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. This is why this is like a lesson in like isolation. Isolation breeds like distorted expectations, and perfection is incompatible with human connection. No one's perfect. Like that's just a projection. And I think as adults, we know that. And as adults that have fully formed, like when it comes to our responses and stuff like that, and our nervous system.
And that people are going to disappoint you. You can't just go on a murder spree to get just the parts of them you like. But definitely very childlike in the way she goes about handling all of this. You know, it is an adult act, but with a child's mind of like, well, I want, you know, what I want from them, you know, who cares?
Yeah, very much. And it's sad because, you know, I think she was neurodivergent, and had she just like had the right guidance, she could have, you know, she could have gotten past all these like hurdles that she had, and she could have lived a happy, normal life, but just she was isolated. And this is why isolation is bad.
Very bad, especially if you only got yourself and your internal thoughts and your doll Susie to rely on for advice. Most likely you're not getting the best advice.
No, I don't think your porcelain doll is going to know much more than you do.
It also, like in May's sense, kind of creates a slight split personality from her own self, because it's her hearing the, you know, it's her thoughts projecting the thoughts of Susie, but now she has like this other voice that she doesn't identify as her own, but, you know, Susie's. So it also creates a lot of instability there.
Yeah, it's like this constant feedback loop, self-validation. While I don't, you know, I am totally about being an independent woman and not looking for like being able to find validation in myself. You need to make sure that you're that something somewhere in society will accept you. I don't know.
That it's not like, too that you aren't on just that you're not going too over the edge. You know, there's some little bit of delulu you need to live in life just to enjoy things, but don't go too far over the edge. Don't go start creating your own doll out of people.
Yeah, there's a nice balance there. It's like
somewhere in between.
Okay, I'm gonna get my nose pierced. I'm gonna get a tattoo
versus chopping off my coworker's neck because I liked it, and you know, there's a nice balance in there somewhere.
Yeah, just go get a tattoo.
Yeah, you know, a lot of things could be solved if you could just get a tattoo at any minor inconvenience. Yes.
I agree with that. They're just expensive.
I know. Sometimes I'm like, dang, if only I would have like learned how to draw better and then do tattooing. I could have made my own tattoos.
Yeah, I mean, we basically wrapped it up. It kind of, there's like another breakdown I had of it, of just like the escalation from in her childhood, she had isolation, then social awkwardness, romantic hope, sexual rejection, relationship instability, public humiliation with hoops. Then her obsession with perfection turns into a violent reconstruction of companionship. That's basically top to bottom what happens.
She just gets thrown through it like life on 1,000 speed. Just from the moment Adam came into the picture, and it was just full force, just into everything. But that was probably the first time she actually put herself out there. It seems like she's been so reserved up until that point where she's like, I really like this man's hands. So I'm going to go after it. Do we ever learn how old she is at this time? Like what age? Like I would assume like maybe it's so hard to.
With the amount of schooling she has to go through, I would assume she's in her mid-20s.
Yeah, that's what I would assume too. Yeah, so that's really like a lot later in life, you know, to be so isolated with just yourself up until that point.
Yeah. Okay, I have one question for you before I let you go. And this is kind of a hard question, so if you can't answer it, I totally understand. But if you were to make your own May doll and take perfect parts from things or people, what would your perfect parts be? It's kind of that is a very loaded question.
Like any parts, like not human parts of
Sure.
things that I like.
Yeah.
I would definitely try to put the moon. I would definitely try to grab a piece of the moon and put it in there because I love the moon. I probably eyes. I love eyes. Like I love like light color eyes. My mom has like these beautiful like blue, they change with the weather, like gray sometimes eyes. And I got brown eyes, but yeah, definitely a piece of the moon. Just probably make up all the pieces of things that I like, like I love like trees and nature. So I'm probably gonna be adding some branches in there just with like some moss.
Make a stick doll.
I probably would make close to a stick doll with like quartz and agates and all different kinds of like rocks.
That sounds very cool, actually.
Right. And then like maybe some like flowers growing in between. I probably make a giant stick doll. Now that I'm thinking about it, it's going to be full of branches and then like moss and leaves and things because I love nature. To me, like nature is so imperfectly perfect.
Yeah.
It just
I
does
love
what it
nature
wants.
too. I go camping like once a week, or not once a week. Sorry, once a month.
Jealous. I go rock hounding during the summer. So we go out and there's lots of quartz and jasper and agates near the rivers and things. But only get to really do that during the summer. And I haven't been camping since I adopted my cat. I think the last time I went was 2019. But I love camping. I love just like in the tent, waking up to like nature and trees and the smell and
yeah, the sounds, everything. Like last weekend I went camping and I was like in a prairie and there were like some crows and I was trying to make friends with them. I gave them shiny things and like I think they were just taking advantage of me, but it's okay.
Were you trying to teach them how to go after the red hats?
We didn't quite get that far, but I was just like, come be my friend, come take my shiny things, and then maybe steal stuff from people and bring it back to me.
Let's end on a high note. Weekly horror update. Ready or Not 2 is in theaters. I'm hearing a lot of mixed things about that film. It looks like it's a really good time, but there wasn't that much that could be added to the storyline. So They Will Kill You is another film that is being released next Friday on the 27th. It looks like a combination of Kill Bill, Ready or Not, and like a murder mystery put in there somewhere. It looks like a good time. Hokum, a new Irish folklore horror starring Adam Scott, is being described as a grim fairy tale, and it's set for a major release in May. Nicholas Brendan, one of the stars of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, has passed away, and he was only 54 years old. He played Xander, and he was definitely one of my favorite characters. Before we had masculinity that wasn't toxic, we had Xander. And Xander is the perfect embodiment of unmatched masculinity and supporting women. I'm not sure what happened, and I really don't want to speculate. I just know that I loved his character on the show. And we just had, like, a little bit over a year ago, Michelle Trachtenberg died at 39 last year. I really hope that we can stop this and have no more untimely deaths for the Buffy the Vampire TV series. In other Buffy news, there was going to be a reboot, but that ended up being canceled over rights to the series. So we'll see. I don't know if that's like the final nail in the coffin for that, but thank you guys for being patient with me. This month has been a lot. I've been working on my screenplay, so I definitely skipped a week that I was planning on recording an episode and releasing an episode. This episode is coming out a day late. I already have my next episode recorded, so that's going to be on time. I just have to edit it. I always say I'm a one-woman show. I really am a one-woman show with a husband, a daughter, 6 cats, a screenplay, and a social media I also have to keep up with. So thank you for being patient and understanding. And I make no money off of any of this. I think people think I get paid for any of this. Like I don't have a Substack. I don't have a Patreon. Maybe I should make those things because right now I'm literally making nothing off of what I'm doing. I'm hoping to grow a community and then be able to find jobs, like sell my script and be a movie director one day, or be an assistant director or producer of my own movies, of the scripts that I write, because I plan on continuing to write because I really enjoy that process, especially of screenplays. I think film is powerful. It's extremely powerful. It has influence on our politics. It has influence on our empathy, the way we view things. The screenplay I just finished is to really disturb people and get people talking. There's a good chance my film will get banned. I'll say that. The Cheeto in charge will not be happy with what I wrote. I'll say that. He will not. This is a weekly podcast with episodes almost every week, almost every Friday. All the research, writing, and audio is done by yours truly. This is a one-woman show, and I am doing my very best. Please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen. It really does mean a lot. You can find me on Instagram at Scream Queen Podcaster, Blue Sky at Scream Queen Podcast, TikTok at Scream Queen Podcast, and there's a link tree that will take you to my YouTube and Facebook page as well. Remember, there's no such thing as a perfect friend. Until next time, goodbye.